All right, we're live on the air. Here we go, week 3 with Golf-Topia with Scott and Julie. Before we bring out the guest of this week, we last week we started with the rant of the week, and the rant of the week last week was running ads for Get Golf Ready on the Golf Channel, and my rant dovetailed nicely into a rant from Julie, and then to a rant from our guest Jason as well. So it was kind of a three-way rant. So we're gonna move the rant up to the top, and then we'll bring in our guest, who by the way this week is Joel Ragar from Fore. Joel, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
All right. So Julie's got the rant of the week this week. It's not really that prepared, but it sounded like she had been putting some things into a draft folder on her email, which is where all her rants go. So Julie, go ahead and kick it off this week with your rant of the week.
Well, as is typical, I'll find a route from this into the golf industry. So,
Absolutely.
so I catch a news tidbit yesterday. I hear, just like I've got the TV just droning on for noise, and I hear something about, JW Marriott, the company is coming out with a plan to put envelopes for tipping in every single room across 160,000 properties or something like this. So I decide, well, I can't go by just what the news anchor says on the news. So I better look a little deeper and make sure it's not just propaganda to piss me off. So I look at a news story, and it's Maria Shriver's behind it. Maria Shriver has partnered with Marriott to sort of encourage more people to understand that we're expected to provide a $1 to $5 tip for the housekeeping staff at any of those properties. So needless to say, I'm certain we all understand that it's likely that the majority of housekeeping staff are women, and that they're likely grossly underpaid for what they do, considering most reviews online about hotels has to do with cleanliness.
Absolutely, yeah.
Service in general and cleanliness and everything, and whether that's going to meet expectations or not. So there's a heavy weight put on that portion of the staff at any hotel, and Marriott has a number of different levels of sort of amenities and types of facilities or types of properties that sort of fall into every category of traveler and every budget of traveler probably as well. So I guess I was instantly miffed that that the expectation or the onus was put on us as the customer, the guest, to essentially pay these people a better wage. And I'm thinking, what if their service is so important to the operation, why aren't they being paid a certain wage from the get-go? And it made me wonder, is the Marriott family or those in charge, are they struggling? Are they having financial problems that I'm not aware of?
Shares are up, I think. I think it's probably publicly traded, I would imagine, or maybe it's privately held. But
I don't know, and I thought, well, I guess I don't know. I'm just.
I like their.
I don't think I'm a cheap person. In fact, when I do tip, I tip very well. I always tip at the high end of the scale, and sometimes, even when the food or the service or whatever it is isn't up to my standard, I find that I don't blame the server or the person all the time, and I usually end up still tipping at least that minimum 15% or whatever it is anymore. So.
But you leave a stern note on the check that the that the beer was a little bit flat.
Well,
no smiley faces are added.
And someone could argue, what's $1 out of your pocket when you leave that room? I think $1 is a slap in the face myself. So
I guess $1 per night or $3 per night or whatever. But you made a good point. That I think the draw put back to the golf industry was you think that the online reviews, it's all about room cleanliness. If you come in and it smells like smoke and like just everything's messy or it just isn't tidy, like you're going to get a bad review for that. So let's look at the room cleanliness as a core competency of the hotel, if not the core competency of the hotel. How nice is the room and how well is it cleaned? So the parallel to golf would be how nice is the course and how well is it maintained. So if I see the guy raking the bunkers or mowing the greens, do I need to slip a couple bucks and say, hey, good job, the greens are well mowed today? I mean, or is it the standard product, or is it an additional service that you get? And for me, and again, I'm trying not to be cheap. I would think just the cleanliness of the room is a standard product as part of the $89 or $149 or $239, depending on the class of Hilton or Marriott that you're staying in.
And this is what I'm saying. So then I start to think, well, maybe it's this discount racket that all these hotels have sort of gone down.
There's your draw to the golf industry.
I'm going to, give this person a $69 room when it's a $129 value. Well, so who gets hurt in that in the end? I don't know. Is it the payroll? Is it the budgeted payroll dollars that are out there for the staff?
For sure it is.
This operation, you're bringing in less revenue because there's lots of arguments out there that say you just fill that empty room. But to me, I think you've got to look at the discount schemes that are out there and the third parties that they sell those empty rooms to end up affecting the bottom line, or at least affecting how they budget, and therefore, now it's on us to help pay the staff a proper wage, essentially. But
I mean, I like it. I mean, because you think about it, if you're going to normally pay $90 or $110 for a room, and me, the consumer, goes on Hotels Tonight or Priceline or some other discount mechanism for that room, it's got to come from somewhere. So it comes from a lot of places, from capital improvements. You don't have a new flat screen TV or whatever they were budgeting for, and then now you're not paying your service staff correctly, and now we've got to try to squeeze kind of maybe that airline model. I'm gonna squeeze you for you want your room cleaned in between the 2 nights that you're here. Well, that'll be another $19. Maybe that's what we'll see coming up.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, is they've already reduced sort of the cleaning services by, okay, can you keep reusing your towels? Are you okay if we don't change your sheets? Can you conserve water? Can you conserve this? I am fully behind some of those practices because I think it is about sustainability, and there's nothing wrong with that, same as the golf industry. Maybe the course conditions have to get a little browner because we got to be more sustainable. That's okay, and that's for the greater good. But to me, if you start this discount game like we have in the golf industry, then you're talking about fewer resources to take care of the people that are very important to your operation. Just saying. So.
Love it. I'm signing off on the rant of the week. So let's talk to somebody that is not involved in the discount game in the golf industry.
Exactly.
I met this guy a couple years ago. I think you and I first crossed paths when I was kind of kicking your tires when I was still on the tee sheet point of sale side, and you and Evan were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed coming into the golf space. But
we were pretending we knew what we were doing, right?
And now you've picked it up very quickly. The guest for this week's Golf-Topia is Joel Ragar from Fore. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for making the time, buddy. Appreciate you coming on. So the first question, just as a kind of an introductory, high level, what is Fore? What do you guys do, and how do you service the golf industry?
Well, so Foreup's a cloud-based technology for tee sheet point of sale. We run the back-end operations of a golf course. We're doing your marketing. We do your websites, mobile apps for your consumers, so they can download those on Android or Apple. But behind the desk, we're doing all your reservations. We do full-scale restaurant software, memberships. We're doing invoicing. And the idea of Fore really started more on a reservation system, and we saw tons of golf courses still today in the industry that use paper and pencil. And so we said, we can do something really quick, right? All these our competitors are such dinosaurs, right? Server based, and And we now have cloud competitors, and their software looks so cheap and old as well. And so we said, man, we could do something really elegant and simple. And that was the initial proposition that quickly changed by demand of golf courses of what they wanted to see. And so today now we have full offering. So whether it's a high-end private country club or it's a small public 9-hole, across the gamut, we service the business operations for all of that.
Okay, so when you say cloud-based, and then now everybody's kind of trying to use that buzzword, so tell me what ForeUp is cloud-based, and then tell me what is not cloud-based that people would say is cloud-based, and then the difference between the two.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we started using cloud-based, which is not our term by any means, in the golf industry about 2 years ago.
You didn't patent that term? You don't get paid?
We're still working on it. That's got a provisional right now. So we started using that, and all of a sudden we started seeing everyone else, right? Without throwing out names, every top competitor we have was now saying, "Oh, we're cloud-based, we're cloud-based," and we love to see that because we know it's a bold-faced lie, right? And so it's a trick to consumers. What a cloud-based system means is, let's say you're using an Apple laptop, an Apple desktop, a PC laptop, PC computer, you have a Windows browser tablet, an iPad, whatever you're using that has access to the internet, ForeUp can run 100% on, right? We're not leveraging on a downloaded application, a downloaded computer, or have to be on some server or remote access in. It's just like Facebook, LinkedIn, Gmail, right? You can pull up on any computer, log in with your secure username and protected password, and you have the full software. So that's the principle of ForeUp and what true cloud-based means. So a lot of our competitors are now saying that, but what they really offer is, well, you can use it on only this certain type of tablet if we pre-download it and you've created a log me in and it's on this server running on this network, which is again, we've just tied down the golf course operations. In today's day and age, every other industry has done this, right? Golf is a little behind on the technology side, and so we're coming in and our consumers and customers as well love that aspect of it. The other big perk too is you have a support issue or a problem, right? We just click on our back end, make a couple changes, say refresh your screen, and that accidental deleted tee time or sale that someone did, it's back right there in front of you. No one else can do that on their support or software side. If we roll out updates, there's no updating. We do it every 2 weeks, new updates and features. All our customers get them for free. They just wake up in the morning and they're there. They don't have to do anything else. So that's what true cloud-based is, opposed to what everyone else claims their cloud-based system is.
You're running the software up on the cloud, not running the software locally and accessing the data up on the cloud. Your entire infrastructure is up, in the same spot where a Gmail or a Facebook or a LinkedIn would be. Everything is up on the top side. Nothing resides down on the low side there at the computer or the tablet or iPhone that you're using in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. So your server goes out and you're panicking, you're calling your company, your software company, you're looking for your local IT guy. Now you're spending hours on the phone and paying for extra support. You have to replace computers. The rest of that, you got to buy their specific computers or order it through them. Most of our courses, when they grab new stations, they're paying $300 at Walmart, grabbing a PC, and our system runs 110% on that in 5 seconds.
Are you seeing them grab the PC from Walmart, or are you seeing them grab an Android tablet and a Bluetooth computer? I mean,
a lot of ours are using it's a hybrid. So we'll see a ton that they still keep their desktop station for a desktop computer, their main station. But we see tons now on the restaurant side and the food and beverage, as well as their golf carts are using tablets now for their payments, recording sales. And again, the benefit is if I'm out on a golf cart and I use that, our ForeUp system, that sales recorded in real time back in the back office, so they can see sales pop in as they come in or tee times. And so yeah, a lot of it is Android tablets and iPad tablets, especially for starters, looking at the tee sheet and seeing it in real time as it's interacting with the pro shop.
Do you monitor that in terms of usage over the last couple of years that you guys have been around doing this? Like, how many logins are happening from a phone or a tablet or a phablet now, I guess, and
that's right,
versus desktop? I mean, are you looking at those stats, or are you going to say maybe we'll give it another year or two and look at those stats?
It's not as big right now, and it'll take some adoption. So we'll probably launch some of that maybe beginning of next year. But we've seen a significant increase. And we'd say about 25% of our courses have an external device outside of a normal computer that they're using. I don't think it's still running the main operations. It's still quicker on a computer if we're running full Pro Shop. But a lot of facilities are now picking up these second tablets, and we have some exciting things. We believe our software is above and beyond any one of our competitors to a certain degree in every part that we do. And we're launching some new features and software at the PGA show next year in January that I think a lot of people will start moving tablet-based in some pretty cool ways.
You can't tease like that. You can't. No way. I'm not accepting that. You gotta give a little more. Got to give a little more info, or are you going to say how you got to come see us at the PGA show? Is that how it's going to be?
Yeah, come see us at the PGA show. The least I'll tell you is that a lot of demand and questions and desires from our courses we'll answer with we'll roll out of new software. And I think one of the propositions that Fore does better than anyone else is we listen to our customers. And if you speak to our customers, it's not like we, like anyone else, are flawless or there's no problems or it's not this, it's different than the software they used before, so it takes some learning in some aspects. But it's intuitive software. We listen to our customers and we roll out the features that they request every 2 weeks. And so it's always advancing some big requests from our customers that we can't just do overnight. We'll be launching, and so customers, non-customers, those with a piqued interest, visit us at the PGA show or give us a call.
All right, Julie.
Customers with big requests, he means Julie Roberts.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go full disclosure.
We have a few of those. There's a special file over here for that.
Yeah, Julie's file is just growing. Hey, listen. I told you, Joel, when I said it. When you said, "Hey, I think we may get Orion," be careful what you wish for. So.
Right.
There's a special category for those customers.
I Julie, hit him with some questions from your side. I think maybe lead him. Maybe some hardballs.
Let me get a legal pad first.
I would certainly add to Joel's sentiment about the software. Because we've been users now since January, basically. So we're still we essentially have about a full season under our belt, which is great. Trying to learn the software in the off season is a good thought, but you can't really learn about the software if you don't have customers. So it's interesting when you actually throw customers and situations into the mix, how questions start to pop up, and that's where the software being intuitive is so important, because you need to be able to fumble through a transaction sometimes that you maybe, there's so many oddities that pop up in retail, in any retail situation, and the golf course for certain, it's magnified a little bit. Because even if you're only having 150 rounds a day, the way I think about it is that could potentially lead to 150 to 300 different types of transactions that go on. So it's multiply the needs of one person at least times 2 or 3, because you're going to be touching them in a number of different ways during their time there.
And the golf POS is always difficult too. When you mention those 150 players, and I'm sure Joel's, getting this all the time. Let's call it 50 groups, right? And nowhere else. A lot of times in golf, those groups are checking in at the same time. They've either met somewhere before, or they're coming in. You may get a foursome, 8-some, 12-some showing up at the same time. So They want to go quick. At the same point in time, they're maybe buying gloves and merchandise and using a coupon or who knows what. Right. It's very odd because when I go to check out pretty much anywhere else, either it's a steady stream like at Target or the grocery store or whatever, or it's just you're paying for some shirt or a pair of shorts or something, and there's nobody in line around you. It's not a high pressure deal. Whereas golf kind of I think gets it both ways. Joel, what do you see kind of on your end in the check-in process and data capture and things of that nature? Is it something you guys have nailed down, or you're still tweaking the software to make it better?
Yeah, I think the good part about it is I would never say we have it nailed down, right? And that's important for us in our culture at Fore is because we always leverage the fact that, look, we know technology, we know software, we know business, and we know user behavior, but we don't know golf-specific user behavior, right? And that's what we're trying to learn. We have hundreds of courses across the U.S., and constantly every day we're getting calls saying this happened, things that we would have never guessed. And you're right? If I go to Target or Best Buy or anything, and it's a typical sales process, right? But at a golf course, there's a lot of give and take. There's a lot of customer demand and questions that come up, and so it is a weird transaction that happens a lot of times. And so when I say we roll out updates all the time, it's not like we've launched this amazing new feature. We try and do that every quarter or every few months to launch big features, but a lot of it is, hey, we now need this new addition to the point of sale that allows for this scenario, and we're like, we've never heard of that in our lives, right? I've never even thought about doing that, but it's just these weird customer demands, right? It's just this unique thing that's in golf. I'm sure it's in other industries too, but we get that feedback from our customers or our golf courses from their customers, and so that's a constant evolution that I assume it'll ebb and flow. There'll be changes, and so improvement to the software constantly rather than making the course try to adapt the solution to us. We try to adapt our solution to them.
So customers not named Julie Roberts that make these sort of...
we don't use names in these interviews.
Well, so and probably my point, my position as a general manager at this property, the intuitive part is, we're talking about the staff member being able to be effective and efficient with the software, and staff members who oftentimes are seasonal, and I think that's industry-wide. That's not unique to my property by any means. But with seasonal businesses and high rates of turnover, it's really nice to not have the hurdle of your POS system being the thing that you have to train your staff on the most. In fact, I found just this season, compared to other seasons, that happened much quicker for my new staff. They were able to step in, and I've got a funny one for you. My superintendent got left behind the counter the other day because the shop guy had to run out to his car, and and he was all excited. I got to work that day, and he said, "I rang up a customer. I rang up a customer," and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Why? I was behind the counter for a second. Somebody walked in the door, and he's like, I was able to do it. It was no problem." You know what?
That's pretty intuitive. That's pretty intuitive for the greens cutter to be able to get
right
up there. So
that was pretty amazing. But of course, then he got tripped up by some price categories after that.
Oh yeah.
So Joel, what's your kind of day-to-day like? I kind of want to know what your current role is, and I also want to know, how did you guys get started in this thing? Like you were looking at different businesses to build, and what made you kind of put your thumb on the golf industry, tee sheet point of sale industry to go after?
Yeah, so it was Evan and I, and we were just saying, look, who wants to go work for the man, right? Why go through all the college and everything else just to end up working for someone else and taking 20 years to get there? So we decided we'd give it a try, and tech is exciting to us, right? And so we decided we wanted to do that, and so we did what's called an idea a day for about 100 days. So we started coming up with new business proposition and values and ideas. And so after a good chunk of time, Evan comes from a big golf background. He loves golf. He'll golf 24/7 if
you said he was addicted to golf and that he golfs too much. That was what you told me last time.
Just don't say it out loud. Yeah, he'll admit it himself.
Okay, good.
So that's a good golf drive, and so we started coming up with golf ideas. And he came from more of the B2C play of being a golfer himself, and so I looked at it and said, there's got to be a B2B play that might be better. And as we looked at it, we looked at the Jonas and the IBS and the Easy Links and the Fore reservations, and looked at how much they had opposed to how many still didn't have software, U.S. international based, and realized the innovation wasn't there, and thought, how could this be? There's no way. So as I mentioned before, we said, look, let's just build a quick reservation system that we can put out there. And so that's what we started with. Golf won just because of lack of technology and a room in the market. It won because of how big the market is and opportunity there. And a lot of people choose not to go into golf because it's decreasing or for various reasons, and we thought that was a huge positive for us too. It put a barrier of other people entering the space, and so we got started, and just from scratch in my college dorm room, Evan and I sat down every night and just started working on it and building the company. And that was a couple years ago, and now with hundreds of customers and a fantastic company, and being able to bring on new employees and be able to provide for creating a company out of nothing, right, if you would, and being able to provide for your family, having others provide for their family. It's a cool operation to be a part of. But then on top of that, to really see that depending on the day you catch Julie, if we're a benefit to them or not, right? But to see other courses and their testimonials back, like, this is fantastic, or you saved us money for this, and at the end of the day, it's working for us as a business, and so we're pretty excited about that.
Julie, is it working for you as a business?
Yeah, it is. I think the exciting thing about Fore is the fact that what Joel has said, they're starting up, and that's important for us to keep in mind. I had another friend sort of in the tech side of the industry, when I did have a frustrating day, tell me, it all gets better with the input of customers. So I think we have to understand as course operators that things will only progress if we're a part of that solution. And so those of us that want to be innovative in the golf industry need to be a part of the process. And so what is important is that Fore and Joel and Evan both keep their eyes and ears open all the time, and I am a huge fan of that personal connection in the partners that we work with to ensure that our operation is staying ahead of the curve. So that's the nice thing about a company like Fore and the fact that they've gone cloud-based, and I would rather get in at the ground level of this progression now and understand it better than anybody else in the next 5 years as it becomes mainstream. So that's the way I see it. And so yes, are there growing pains? For sure. Is it worth it? Absolutely.
You mentioned a good one, a good question for Joel that I didn't even have on my list. So Joel, that customer feedback, what we had done in my previous life many years ago, we did users conferences. Are you guys going to try to get some users together in a room, or maybe have something down at the PGA show, or host something at some point to kind of gather that feedback? Or is that old school, and like the new school cloud way is to have some sort of virtual conference or something?
It's a Google's Hangout, right?
Well, maybe yeah. It's
so
10 people at a time.
No,
yeah,
it's a fantastic question. So we've thought about that. We've gone back and forth. Your previous company and others in and outside of golf have done that, and some of them still do it. It's extremely successful. I think one of the biggest differences in the approach that we take, and Julie's kind of mentioned this, is I've got a busy day, right? I'm in and out of town, and so I don't get to deal with as many customers, as many people wanting to come onto the software and trainings. Back in the day, I did everything, right? If you called in 2 years ago, the only people you spoke to was Evan and I, right? And so
now nobody can reach you.
And now sometimes on purpose so I can get a little breath. But Evan and I still, if you call our support, if you call our sales, right, you're probably not talking to Evan or myself, but we get on the phone all the time, every single day, and we answer emails, and we give out people our personal info. We want to be on that, right? We might have a full setup team, we might have a full support staff, we might have a full sales team, a full development team that's dealing with those. We try and be on as much of that as we can, because I don't think we can really lead the ship in the right direction unless we understand. And so I think one of the big differences, and why we haven't done a users conference yet, is the fact that we make sure we staff ourselves very well, that if you call Fore right, you're talking to someone right away, whether that's on the sales, support, or the setup side. If you don't talk to them right when you call, they're calling back 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whenever everyone's off their lines. Unlike our competitors, which is the common case of a lot of courses of why they come over. They call and they don't get a call back for 3 days, right? If you've got your servers down, if you've got a support, and I don't know how it works over there, right? So if they just listen to the voicemail and someone's mad and they say, well, it's not their server, so they can sit on it for a couple days. Sometimes it is painful for us to take those calls, or if someone says, your system did X, Y, and Z, and maybe it wasn't our fault, and we fixed something really quick on their side. we want to be there. We want someone to feel like they can call in, even at our growth, right? When we had 15 customers, that was obviously to be expected. How many could be calling at the same time? Now at 100 customers, at 200, as we keep growing and growing, we still want to anticipate that. So, the demand and need for a user conference probably isn't there as much because we still hear from a lot of our customers, or we communicate. Right now, all our staff is doing a outreach program. So in the next 2 months, we're calling every single one of our courses, and we're going through a survey with them, evaluating things, making sure we understand where they're at, how they feel, requests. But the answer is we've looked at it several times. I don't know if I have an answer today, but probably start digital, and then maybe at some of the shows or something we'll get into it. But it's a fantastic idea. I believe the principle of communicating and understanding your customers is the most important part of that, and I believe we're doing a really good job of that. It can be improved, and I think that's always the positive. Everything at Fore can be improved.
Always, 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 for sure. All right, so I guess if you take the Fore Up hat off for a second, and just kind of think of Fore Up as a T-sheet point of sale, web technology software company. What are three of the best practices that you just want every single golf course to implement, as it relates to your technology and/or technology like yours?
So number one, I'll say all day long, use Fore Up. Don't use us. Don't use the software. I don't care. Get the dang customer's name, right? You got people walking in there every day, and we'll golf from time to time and visit different courses, and I've never been once asked, hey, what's your email? What's your phone number? Would you like to be a part of a mailing campaign? Nobody does that, and I don't understand it, right? So
when it does happen, you will want to kiss the man or woman that actually
hopefully it's a female, right?
Right?
So that's something that I've never understood, right? I go to Target, I'll bring that up. I mean, I get asked all the time, what's your zip code? So I at least know geographically where my customers are coming from. What's your phone number? What's an email? All these stores I go to, and I go to golf courses which live and die by those customers coming in. It's not like I can, if I'm going to your course or I'm going to another course, it's going to happen. So I've never understood that. Golf operators don't do that. We built our system so you click a tee time and it pops up right in front of you. It says their name, it says their phone number, their email address. You can even put their zip code right in there. No extra clicks. It's right there in your face, and we instruct in all our setup and training. Man, we've made it easier than any other system we see out there. Just do it. And yet we still see a lot that don't do it.
All right, that's the big one. That could probably be 1, 2, and 3. Give me two others that are sticking in your craw a little bit.
Yeah. So the number 2 is definitely the experience a customer gets when they walk in. I understand guys behind the desk have bad days too, or they just were feuding with someone. But a lot of times we'll get complaints when we'll do surveys with golfers. Rather than a golf course, and a lot of times they say, I just was walked in and they just said $42 or $72, and there was no interaction, there was no communication, and then that leads on to my third is, as an operator, speaking and communicating with your golfers, right? I got to have a driver, I got to have my irons, my bag, my tees, my golf balls, my shirts, the rest of that. I got to buy them somewhere. Why not at your club? And I'm never offered to buy even a bag of tees, right? And how many times do you go out there and you look to your buddy and be like, hey, do you have any extra tees? Or, it's a water-filled course and I'm out of balls by the 9th hole because it's a terrible day, right? Or for me, maybe that's the 2nd hole that I'm used all my water balls. So, a lot of times it's just simple communication. Let's have a conversation with the customer or just provide a little bit better experience. And then let's just promote, you guys have a pro shop full. We get response all the time from golf course operators that say, I got a full pro shop and I end the season with a full pro shop and now I'm trying to liquidate this or I'm eating the costs. And, we communicate with them, we teach them some best practices, and a lot of times they say, yeah, none of our staff ever offers. I don't even have quick golf balls or anything sitting right by the front desk. And those are things that I think really help golf courses in their operations.
Julie, we're 2 for 2 on that question now, because I don't know if you remember last week, because Jason from Gallus said the same thing. A little service, So the service level they're shipping. And this is from the consumer standpoint here. We're not even talking about the industry and all. We're just talking about just flat out, which is what the PGA professional used to be very, good at. They used to hang their hat on that service element,
Absolutely. I think, I use sort of the example of my favorite restaurant, and I've used this before. My husband and I like to frequent a certain restaurant here in Kansas City, and I was amazed that after the third or fourth time we had been there, the bartender staff reached over the bar, put a hand out, and shook our hand and introduced themselves and asked our names. And then worked very hard in successive visits to use our names, interact on a more personal level. And I can tell you that we spent a lot more money than we ever wanted or intended to, because of that personal connection and any recommendations they made, any upsell in a drink or whatever it was. It was an easy decision at that point because we were having a nice time, and it was we feel like when we're not there, we're missing out. And so that's what is so important for golf course operators and PGA professionals, as well as the staffs that they train, to understand that when somebody, whether you've seen them before or not, walks in and just wants a bucket of balls, and maybe they haven't been to your property and they're looking around, or maybe they've been a couple of times and you just haven't done it yet, reach out, shake their hand, and tell them who you are, and that way they're not just walking around blind and aimless and feeling unwelcome. It's a huge.
It happened when you and I were there in Kansas City last time. We went to EBT just for a cocktail, and the guy was, I'm the general manager of the place. Good to have you here. He started a rapport. And I think a lot of times in the golf industry, maybe we're just sliding into this commoditization, both on pricing, both on service levels, and this is it's rearing its ugly head right now with just, I walk in, the guy says $42, slides my credit card, and I'm out the door. So.
And I'll give a selfless plug for Fore Up, right? Come see us at the PGA show. We're launching two things that, for course operators, if you could know the guy walking in the door before you even see his face and know all info about him and history and what his favorite drink is and when his next tee time was, his value to you as a customer. Whether this is your first day, it's a superintendent that walked behind the desk, right? And he doesn't know anyone or has never met anyone. There's some pretty cool, exciting parts of our software coming out that's going to do that. Get outside behind the desk, get in front of the desk, and some other things too. So.
Well, that was juicy.
I like it. It all gets back to me though. Point number one is getting that data, and that's kind of, I think the mission that I've been on, at Fore Reservations and then here now and in this world is you got to get that data, because you got to figure out what the guy's favorite drink is in the first place. You got to figure out that he plays Nike, Pro Platinum balls versus the Pro V1s or whatever. You've got to identify that, and then you combine that knowledge with quality service. I think those are the things that'll push that repeat customer coming up, and it'll feel like I've got to go play not at Minor Park. I got to go play at Julie's golf course. And I think maybe that's kind of what we're missing, is that it shouldn't be Minor Park. We should just rename every golf course to whatever the general manager's name is, golf course. I got to go play Julie, and it probably you want that for your staff, for your starter. I got to go play Ralph's golf course because Ralph is our guy. He takes care of us on the first tee or whatever the case may be. So, but yeah, I would say that just for my background, the T-sheet and point of sale world, that T-sheet POS customer database, that whole backbone technology is what makes any of that stuff possible. And you've got to have a receptacle that can easily get that information in and then be able to get it back out to you, which I guess Joel is going to withhold all the details of it, but some sort of vehicle so that it very easily pops up and says, this is this guy's first time, this is this guy's 28th time, this is what he likes to drink, this is what he purchased last time, whatever. Just guessing, not even being able to see it, but I can see it in my eye, and I guess I'll have to swing by his booth down in Orlando. Mm-hmm. Julie will not swing by his booth down in Orlando because she is morally opposed to going down to the PGA Merchandise Show once every 76 years, and it already happened. So
I don't have shop shoes.
Listen, you're in the PGA. You get a pair of shop shoes when you put your dues in. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. The way we wrap it up is an homage to my guy, Ricky, who's probably watching, who will come up with the emergency 9, which is 9 quick, rapid-fire questions for you, Joel. There are no right or wrong answers, but there are some that will cause us to look the other way here. So you ready for your
Let's do
emergency
it.
9? All right, here we go. What's your handicap?
I can't be recorded. It doesn't go that high.
See, now this is the beginning of a sucker bet right now. This is I think I'm getting roped into something. It cannot be recorded.
$50 a hole, right?
Can we break 100 or can we break 110? Like, where are we
We
at?
can break 100.
We can break 100, so you need to have a handicap. That's all I'm saying. All right. Have you had a hole in one yet?
I've not.
Okay.
But I will give a shout out to Evan, who 2 weeks ago got his first hole in one.
Oh,
Nice.
yay.
Nice.
On a par 4, nonetheless.
On a par 4?
Wow.
On a dog leg right. So we'll give him that.
Were you with him to acquire the free beverages that normally come with?
No, you know what? The funny thing is he said no one was there. He said that...
Did he have a witness to the hole-in-one?
No, he was in a scramble. It was a foursome for a tournament.
Okay, well then that's probably a good time to do it because then usually those events have drinks already included, so that's nice.
Right.
All right, your favorite golfer on any tour, past, present?
Tiger Woods is obvious, but I think maybe Tiger Woods from 8 years ago.
Okay, Tiger Woods pre-fire hydrant.
That's right.
Okay.
That's a common answer. Funny.
That is a good one. All right. The best course you've played?
Oh, that's a good question. The Red Ledges up here in Utah. It was done by Jack, and it's a pretty nice course. I've played some good ones down in Phoenix. I grew up in Mesa, Arizona, so through Scottsdale and Phoenix, the Troon course is out there, and so I played a good couple out there, and then out west in California. But I'd say lately it's Red Ledges out here in Utah.
Okay, fair enough. And Utah's got some nice courses, some nice views. All right, you don't have to convince Julie. She loves that sort of stuff.
I do love it.
What's your prediction for the United States team at the Ryder Cup in next week?
I don't have any good predictions for them.
No, nothing at all. You're not going to go out on a limb and say we're winning.
I don't think they'll win.
Oh, you don't think they'll win? All right, that's good. That's good.
Something positive. Yeah.
All right, so who's the best golfer? You can probably answer this with Evan. Is Evan the best golfer in the company, or have you hired some other guys or girls that are a little bit better?
We've brought some that have come through, but Evan still. We had 2 tournaments or 2 events last week, and obviously we send him to all those, and I stay at the office.
Okay, good. Somebody's got to work, maintain the ship. All right, what's your best idea that you've seen or have to grow the game of golf?
Well, I think the creation of Fore was the best idea we had, and what that encompasses. That might be a little too encompassing. But
one more plug to get in there. Yeah.
The best thing I've seen probably is I think it would probably be technology in general. It's been a hard few years, 10, 15 years for golf, but I think technology, not just tee sheet point of sale, but mobile apps. So mobile technology, I think that's done a lot to really help the game as far as tracking your score, doing analytics. Speaking with a couple of the companies that do all the stat trackers for golfers, that's called gamification. And what that means is the more I do, the more excited I get, and I just want to do more and more, right? And so I'm earning these little treasure chest openings and stars and whatnot, and that's what gamification is. And that's what I was hinting to before, that we're trying to do a little bit of into our software. But that's what I think is grown more, is we got to get better interaction with the consumers. I can't just pump a ton of features into Fore if I'm not getting a good interaction with the consumer, the ones who actually make the golf course exist.
Yep. See, we're getting a little bit more of these ideas. He's starting to reveal more of his hand, Julie. All right, so since your favorite golfer is pre-injuries, Tiger Woods,
right.
You've got him on the phone right now. He'll do whatever you say to fix what's going on. What's your advice to him right now?
To start winning.
Start winning? Just win. Just win, baby.
Yeah, right. He's out for the rest of the season, right? Or maybe a couple things right at the end.
Yep.
But the stats don't lie. If you look at viewership on golf, any game he's playing or tournament he's in, it goes up, right? And that's why NBC or whoever's publicizing that round, they pay through the nose if golf or Tiger is going to show up to those. And I think, the sad thing is the true stats also that don't lie is the fact that they haven't seen a growth since Tiger started the game, right? Golf and purchase in golf has been huge, but as far as gameplay rounds, we haven't seen an increase in that. So, I can humbly sit back and say I don't know the answer today. I don't know what Tiger could do other than show up and maybe we can sell a few more drivers and a few more Nike shirts, right?
All right, last question for you. What is next for Fore Up?
PGA show of 2015.
Yeah, come see it.
Yeah, so again, it's going to be focusing on, we think we have fantastic software. It's only improving, and we got that machine rolling, right? So that's going to keep cranking, and so adding on some new things that really work on the consumer side to make it easier, right? And not everyone behind the desk is outgoing. Not everyone behind the desk is business-minded, and so we feel if we can automate most of that in the software and take it out of their hands so they don't have to worry about it, that we can really help an operation. And so the future of Fore Up is really, look, golf course operating and running a course is hard. So we want to improve your bottom line, and we want to work with you rather than just be a simple system, which we look at all competitors, and most of them are, is just it tracks a number, right? It records a sale, and that's what it is, and that's what the proposition has been for the last 10, 15 years. And we want to change it. We want to be a system that works for you and progresses an extension of your club and your employees.
Perfect.
So have you kept the marketing module somewhat simple until you really, it sounds like you're going in the direction of really amping up the marketing aspect of the Fore Up platform. So
he's not going to tell you. He's not going to tell you anything else.
Julie, you have my number.
Julie, you probably helped design it. You're playing.
I'll text you later.
All right. Well, hey, listen, Joel, thanks for the time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you both.
You can go to the website if you're interested, www.foreupsoftware.com, if I'm not mistaken.
Foreupgolf.com.
Foreupgolf.com. All right, perfect. And then you can always, ask Julie for Joel's cell phone number, and I'm sure she'll turn it over. So. All right, man. Appreciate the time. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Thank you both. Bye.
All right.